Hello and welcome. This is Captain Aquarius, coming to you again, doing business as Dan First, with another in the series of the 10-minute videos that I post every 2 weeks because this is the timing of the main lunations of the black moon and the full moon. We are going to talk now about the black moon that is coming on August 2nd, so-called because this is the time during the moon's window of invisibility when the moon and the sun are in exactly the same position in the zodiac, where you see them both at the bottom of the sixth house of this chart. The chart, as you see, has an unusual design that is different from the more symmetrical equal house design that I usually prefer. This one, called a Euro hub design, has the actual size of all the houses, but also has the advantage of showing the planet angles of relationship in a way that is easier to see and is not skewed in the way that can happen if you have so many planets close together as you see them here in the very important sixth house of health and service relationships in this chart. We will talk more about this in a moment and about the capacity that it offers us at this time to act communally and positively and effectively to bring about the kinds of changes that we intend to bring about in our societies and on our planet. The main engine of relationship here, the thing that is causing the intensity of the changes, both in terms of helping to bring them about and producing a strong reactive force against them, is the one that we have seen before. Look up in the ninth house of the chart, the planet Saturn there at 9 degrees of Sagittarius is at 90-degree angles to Neptune, who is located there in the 12th house of the chart, in conjunction with an upside-down horseshoe, which is called the south node of the moon, and is opposite, therefore, to the north node of the moon, the right side up horseshoe that you see over here in the sixth house. The effect of this and what it means, because the moon's nodes involve relationships with groups of people, and the way in which relationships combine and cohere and strengthen, or the way that they are stressed and they tend to pull apart and break. These moon's nodes are in an angle of leverage, meaning that pressure here is being exerted to create change with both Neptune and Saturn. Saturn being the cold, restraining, earthy force of reality, and Neptune being the planet of spirituality, mystical consciousness, dreams, imagination, intuition, also fantasy, fraud, addiction, victimhood, and outright lying. Therefore, we are going to see it constantly continuing to happen from now until October, as it has already been happening for months, that there are going to be constant stretches and collisions between events that cause us to focus clearly on what is actually going on and every kind of, frankly, horseshit that is being told in order to make it more difficult for us to understand what's going on. It is necessary at this point to explain that there is a technical difference between bullshit and horseshit. Bullshit is an art form that takes something that is not true and dresses it up in an entertaining manner that makes it appear plausible. Horseshit, on the other hand, does not make any of the kind of effort that can make bullshit so entertaining and endearing. Horseshit is simply a process of taking outrageous, barefaced lies and throwing them right in our faces and daring us to object to them. Bullshit used to be the standard currency of politics all over the world. Now, horseshit is the standard currency of politics, and this is why we have seen it happen now in the ridiculous display of the American presidential election, that we have a self-inflating balloon who refuses to divulge his tax returns running against an insecure, terrified war criminal who refuses to disclose the transcripts of her speeches to Goldman Sachs. And the people of the country are being told, you really have to vote for one of these and do your duty in a democracy, which frankly does not exist. And we have come to the point of crisis and possible chaos, at which the only question is the rotten and corrupt system going to collapse of its own weight before the election actually occurs, or is it going to expire more quietly and in some other manner after the election is over? We are therefore at the point where more and more people are realizing that it is not possible anymore for us to rely on leaders or institutions or authorities or any of these things that are constantly lying to us and hiding the evidence of their wrongdoing. We are therefore obligated to create the new ways. This is our duty and our role, and the whole reason we have come together again on the planet now at this time to do this, to act as communal co-creators to bring about the results we intend. The chart has very valuable clues on how to do this together. One is the fact that Chiron the healer over in the first house is in fact the rising planet of this chart in very close relationship to the Pisces ascendant. Chiron is opposite to Jupiter, the planet who looks like the number 4 over in the 6th house, who is the planet of the institutions of authority, including governments, courts of law, banks, and so on. The opposition between these two is not necessarily conflictive or negative. It can be complementary, and it can mean that we as people have the ability to heal, or if necessary, to terminate existing political institutions, provided that we understand our own responsibility and the way that our own unaddressed wounds within our own energy fields are indeed manifesting outwardly in the effects that we don't want. Other things are wonderful in this chart and offer us clues to how we proceed. Notice that the moon and the sun in conjunction in the black moon in the 6th house are in a 120-degree angle of relationship that is called a trine, with Saturn there in the 9th house of the chart. This is marvelous because it gives us a way to integrate our intelligence, which is the sun, our emotional life, which is the moon, in harmony with our capacity for devoted, disciplined, hard work, which is Saturn, to get the job done in practical terms. And there is another spectacular relationship in this chart. Look at the position of Uranus, the revolutionary, there in the 1st house at 24 degrees of the sign of Aries. He is in a 120-degree trine with Venus over in Leo in the 6th house, and both of them are in another trine with the point at the top center of the chart at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, which is called the midheaven, because it is the point directly above our heads in the sky right at the moment when we are born in our individual charts, or the event, the point of the black moon in this chart exactly occurs. This triangle is called a grand trine in fire, because all of these signs are fire signs that embody not only the spiritual element, but also our creativity. And they are unified by Sagittarius, which is one of the leadership signs of optimistic vision at the top center of the chart. It is therefore a good indicator that right now, before the stresses of these planets begin to change and accumulate later in the month, more on this at the next full moon, we have the opportunity now to coalesce, to be creative, to be courageous, and to create the new kind of planet that we intend. Let's do it.